me a question.
There you
All
go.
right, good evening and welcome. You are tuned in and watching the Zone Blitz by NFL Female. This is the weekly Tuesday night webcast, and I am Sharona. I am happy to be back with my sisters tonight. It's been, I
Woohoo!
know, right? It's been kind of crazy fall for me. So I'm happy to be back. I'm the official fan reporter for the NFL for NFL Female. Be sure to jump on our website, www.nflfemale.com, and check out all the latest and greatest articles. And as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Sonja and Kate. So without further ado, I will kick it over to Sonja to get us going.
Hey, everybody. I'm Sonja. I am the official fan reporter of the Detroit Lions, winners of 3 straight, but that's not here nor there right now. We'll get into that a little later. You can follow me on Twitter at mom2 3RN. And it's going to be a good night. We got Sharona back with us. We got Roxanne with us. Of course, we have Kate. So let's just get going. Kate, say hi to everybody. I know you're going to need some time to recover from yesterday's game, if you want to call it that. But say hi to the folks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Cleveland Kate. I'm the official fan reporter for the Cleveland Browns. Also a great, big, huge Ohio State Buckeye fan. Coming to you live from the Lady Lair on the west side of Cleveland. I have survived the Monday Night Football fiasco in which Brownsing has become a verb. We find new ways to lose every week. I'm about tired of hearing about the Lions' troubles because my Browns got them beat when it comes to the crap department every time. Thanks for joining us.
Well, you know, I sent you that tweet earlier. I don't know if you saw that.
I did. I thought we might talk about that tonight.
Yeah, we can get into that in a little bit. We can. And joining us is our wonderful reporter of the Philadelphia Eagles Fly is Roxanne. Welcome, Roxanne. We are so glad to have you on. And before she says anything, I just have to think it's so cute. She was like, I can't think of anything good to say about the Eagles. I said, girl, bye. You're going to fit right in.
Yeah, you got nothing on the Lions and the Browns, girl.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Really? How? I mean, we're 4-7. We have no Super Bowl rings. I mean, we have lost 3 straight. I mean, we're pretty bad. We're pretty bad.
You haven't seen any Lions Super Bowl rings now, have you?
No, I guess not.
I mean,
but you've been. At least you've been.
Say,
we can't even buy tickets to go. We're not even allowed in the stadium on the day of the event. That's how bad we are.
Oh, man.
Oh,
we got a theme going on tonight then.
Yes, exactly. So why don't we get into the whole Eagles season this year? What do you think? What's been going on? Is Chip staying? Tell me about that.
I believe he is staying, unfortunately. I don't think they're going to let him go. I guess he deserves another year, only because this is his first losing season, but I don't agree with him staying. I think by your 3rd year, you should be improving, and if anything, we've not been improving. We've gotten worse. We went to the playoffs his first season. Second season, we missed the playoffs, and now we're not even a winning team. So he's going to be staying, but I don't know if he's going to be getting the same privileges that he has now as far as the personnel department. So who knows if they take that away from him.
That was the dumbest thing. I mean, that's never really ever been a success, and I can't believe the Eagles actually did that.
I guess
especially for a guy who really had never coached in the league.
Right, that's true. I guess they jumped on that bandwagon. Chip Kelly is a genius type thing. I don't know. I mean, he was for a second there, but then I think now the NFL, kind of figured out his system, which wasn't really that hard to figure out in the first place, and he's not looking like a genius now. So.
Yeah.
Well, part of it is the way he ran that team up in Oregon, and you can see it in Marcus Mariota's draft stock and how high he went. That's the kind of offense NFL teams wanted to run, and I think the problem Chip Kelly ran into is in Oregon he had responsibility for getting the players, for recruiting them, and that was all his. and he's done a terrible job of that in Philadelphia. I think managing college egos is not the same as managing NFL player egos, and you let LaShawn McCoy go and some of your other weapons, and then you have to start all over again with guys who you don't have enough of a history in the NFL for them to buy into your system. And so I think he lost the locker room this year. And as a Browns fan, I knew his arrogance was going to be an issue when he didn't come here. And not just that he didn't come here, but the way that whole thing went down with the interview and the refusing to interview and all that kind of stuff, I thought either he just has his heart set on Philly or he's a little too full of himself, and he needs to watch that if he's going to actually run this team. And that's what I think you're running into this year. Whether he stays or not, time will tell, but it'll be interesting to see if he can get the locker room back. And that may ultimately be the decision, is more talking, ownership talking to the players to figure out if they'll follow Chip Kelly next year and if they can put a plan in place that the players will buy into and he can get that locker room back.
I agree. I think definitely it's an ego issue at this point. He just loves that control. He loves that power, and it hasn't worked out for him. He let go of Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson, Todd Herremans, LaShawn McCoy, of course. He's let go of so many people that have done nothing but good things for the Eagles. But
wasn't Evan Mathis an Eagle too?
Oh, that's right, Evan Mathis,
yep.
Right?
Yeah.
He's let go so many of the Eagles' heart and soul the past few years, and it hasn't worked out for him, and that's finally coming to show. And I don't know, he's still going to be the coach, I think, but after next year, I don't know.
Well, and those are all still players that are still producing in the NFL. I mean, we can look at Bill Belichick's track record of letting players go, and people are like, oh my God, you got rid of Wes Welker, you got rid of Bernie Kosar when he was in Cleveland. But he's always had an ability to figure out when a player's done and get rid of him right at the peak of it, before he starts that downslide. But that's not the case with Chip Kelly. These guys are all being very productive, at least from a fantasy standpoint. When I look at Jeremy Maclin especially and some of these other guys, they're very productive on their new team. So it's not like they were out of juice. They clashed with Chip Kelly, and so they left. And you can be that kind of a coach when your team wins 10, 11 games. But when you only win 4 games, you got to eat a little humble pie, and you better figure out a way to fix this or you're going to be out of a job. And I don't know if there are a long line of other teams that want him after seeing what he did to the Eagles in 3 years, the damage that has been done to that team in 3 years.
Yeah, the good thing for Chip Kelly is that there are going to be a lot of college a lot of college jobs open, and it's a good opportunity. It would be a good opportunity if he's so inclined to go back to college to do that. I want to know who the idiot is, Roxanne, that started the Chip Kelly to the Tennessee Titans trade rumors.
I'm not sure. It wasn't me.
That's got to be one. This is almost as dumb as the rumors about Chip Kelly trading away everything for Marcus Mariota and the Titans trading for Phillip Rivers. I don't know who the idiot is who starts all this crap, but they need to stop because, it's crazy.
And
I
people
agree.
get all...
It's only been a distraction to our team, too, about him going to back to college, to the whole, USC thing. It's just been a major distraction, and that may, be another reason why our team isn't doing that well.
Well, I still think Jeff Fisher's going to USC. That's my blind stab at it. They're going to move the Rams to San Diego or Calabasas or whatever town in California they're talking about moving them to. And Jeff Fisher's going to go, you know what, never mind, I'm just going to go to USC.
Didn't they sign that interim coach that took over for the other coach?
You know what, they did. I think they did.
He won't last long. He won't last long. He won't make it a year. If a bigger name becomes available that really wants to go there, that will help with recruiting, because along with the recruiting comes the money. And if Jeff Fisher ever said to them, you know what, I think I'd like to be the head coach, they would drop that guy in a minute, buy him out of his salary. We can't even remember his name, so he's definitely not going to have the edge from a recruiting standpoint. I love the rumors. Sharona's probably heard all the Peyton Manning rumors, everywhere from AD at Tennessee to working with the Titans to coming to Cleveland and helping with the Browns.
I started that one.
These rumors are awesome.
He started
the
at 80.
perpetuating the athletic
Tennessee
director
as
at
AD.
UT. I've been telling everyone he's going to be athletic director at Tennessee, so I'm trying to.
I have to. I started that. I take full credit for it. I started that.
And I'm helping
You heard
him
it
along.
here
I think that's the
live,
best
folks.
place for him, but who knows what he'll do. You think he's done?
I don't think about athletic
Yes.
director, but yeah, he's done. He's done. I don't think athletic director. I think more offensive coordinator. Right.
No, I don't think he won't coach. He would be an athletic director before he would coach.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah, coaching is too time intensive. He won't want to. I mean, not that Peyton isn't like I could now. Another thing that I could see him doing is he and Eli and David Cutcliffe starting a quarterback academy because they already have their camps and stuff. So I could see that too. But no, I don't think he'll coach. I really don't.
He's one of those guys who could really do whatever he wants. He could work for a pro team, a college team. He could do commentary on the ESPN because he's hilarious when he does the commercials and when he's on Saturday Night Live. He's just got the whole off the field package going for him. There's never been a scandal attached to his name, so he can really do whatever it is that he wants. And he's one of the few guys in the NFL right now that I think has that power to do whatever he wants when he decides to walk away from the game.
He did almost get Tennessee sued when he was playing for the school, but yeah,
he was young then.
He was
very
young. Other than that, yeah. Other than that whole mooning the female team personnel.
But that's okay. He was young. That's okay. He was young. Right.
If that's as bad as it gets, if that's the worst skeleton in his closet compared to everyone else in the NFL, not a problem.
Yeah. They can deal with that. Maybe he could go to the Packers. They moon a lot of people, right? Right. Yeah. So he could go be a GM for the Packers. Oh goodness. So also, do you think injuries, going back to Philadelphia, how much do you think injuries have played into what's been going on this season as well? Do you think if Sam Bradford were healthy that their record might not be as trashy as it is right now?
Maybe, but Sam Bradford himself has been so inconsistent that it's hard to tell. It's hard to predict with the quarterback who is so injury prone. It probably would be the same.
Yeah.
Do you think you're looking at quarterback in the draft next year, or are they really locked into Bradford?
No, I hope if Chip Kelly is smart, he would definitely go for a quarterback for next draft. And let go of Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
I want him gone.
He's hot garbage too.
Horrible.
Well, you got my boy Thad Lewis there too. He served some time in Cleveland, so he's probably happy to be in. He's probably one of the only guys in the locker room who's happy because his record's better than the one at his old team. He's all like, 4 wins. Dang, we got 4 wins. This is awesome.
He's like, yeah, I'll keep reminding you, 4 wins. Hey.
4 wins, dude. I lived in 2-win Cleveland. This is awesome. Y'all don't know. You'll learn, Roxanne. It's all about me. I can bring any topic you want to throw out there back to me in Cleveland.
She's very good at that, but that's okay. That's why we still love our Kate. Any other things going on? Is there anything good maybe happening in Cleveland, in Philadelphia?
No.
Do you think that there might be a chance for the playoffs? Do you think?
Well, considering how bad the NFC East is, I think
that's what I'm talking about.
Cowboys have a chance still. It's so embarrassing, really. It's really bad. But yeah, we're 1 game behind Washington and New York. So if by some miracle we beat the Patriots this weekend, we're in there. We are in there. So
anything can happen. You never know.
On any given Sunday.
Exactly.
That's what they say. Sunday. Yeah.
Any given Sunday. And the Patriots.
I just looked at it because I didn't believe you. Your entire division is below 500.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
I'm like, wow.
It's really
There's
bad.
still enough football left. You really could if you can get this turned around. I'm guessing you still got some division games yet. You have the Giants coming up.
And Washington, yeah.
Yeah, so those division games are going to they're going to really matter for you guys, everyone in the NFC East. I feel so bad for the Cowboys. Romo's out for the season.
I feel
And we'll get to this in the injury
Screw
report.
the Cowboys.
I was about to say, here,
Boo,
we can over.
Jerry Jones, boo.
do not feel
I'm
sorry
waiting for
them
Jerry
at
to
all.
call and ask about Johnny, but then, man, now that McCown's out for the season, we're probably not going to be interested in trading Johnny anymore, so we'll see.
Go ahead, baby.
Miles Davis, or Miles Austin. Why do I always call him Miles
Davis.
Miles Austin is someone that we picked up last year that I was really excited about, and he did very little, next to nothing. I think at one point I had a milk carton with his picture on it. I ended up taking his picture off and putting Calvin Johnson's on. But he seems to have the same problem in Philadelphia. Is he just not getting the targets because of your quarterback issues? Or do we all just agree that Miles Austin is past his prime? As pretty as he is past his prime.
Wait,
Yeah.
I don't know why we keep taking these older guys, these injury-prone guys. I don't know. I don't know. Chip Kelly thinks he's the Olivia Pope of the NFL, where he can
Well, when you pay Dwayne Bowe $9 million to be a healthy scratch for 10 weeks, then I'll
Yeah,
see it's all
right.
about me again. I'll bring it back to me every time.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
goodness. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I'm with you, Roxanne. That Miles Austin hasn't been healthy since 2010 and or 2011 maybe. And I didn't get that either.
Nope.
I didn't understand. First of all, I didn't understand why they let Jeremy Maclin walk. That was
right.
that
I
was
don't
a
either.
big thing.
I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still trying to figure out who we got for him. I don't know.
They let Jeremy Maclin walk, but they kept Riley Cooper.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that one hurt, definitely. I don't know why that happened. I don't know. I'm just up in the air with Chip Kelly right now. I supported him through everything, but he hasn't shown any loyalty to our team. He hasn't.
Yeah.
He can let anyone
He
go
really
at any
hasn't.
given time, and I
Which-
think that's what kills the player.
Which college job do you think would be most attractive to him?
Not sure. I don't follow college football that much. I'm not sure.
I think.
You'd think USC, right?
Yeah, I was about to say I would think USC, Southern
First of all,
California.
I don't think that Georgia's already got their guy right. I think they've already decided who they're going to hire, and it looks like Nick Saban. Looks like Les Miles is now safe. That was crazy. I couldn't believe that LSU was going to fire Les Miles.
Exactly. That was stupid. And I don't know. In college football, you got to understand that just getting rid of people just because 9 win, 9 win, 10 win, 9 win, 9 win, 10 win, it's hard to rebuild. You got to have an idea as to who you want to, do that, because look at Nebraska. Look at, Texas.
Look at Tennessee since they
Look at
fired Phil
Tennessee.
Fulmer.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe finally they got their guy in Butch Jones, but yeah, I completely agree. Too many teams, and this applies in the NFL too. Too many teams, fire their coaches without a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and part of the issue, I think, at least with Les Miles, and I think we're going to see more and more of this going forward, is his name recognition means a lot to parents, but not so much to kids. And I don't think some of these older college coaches can connect with the kids that they're recruiting now. They're not on Facebook. They're not on the Twitter. They don't get all the tech involved in, smartphones and all this kind of stuff. And so there's a disconnection there. And so when they come sit in your living room and talk to you about coming to play at my school, I think they're having a harder time with recruiting. And even though, I hear the name Les Miles and I would love for one of my kids to go play for him, if he had to sit with my kid now, my kid wouldn't know who he was. He wouldn't connect to him the way, like I said, these younger coaches are. And I'm thinking they were never really going to fire him, but there were probably some back channel conversations about maybe he should just retire. He should pretend that he's the one making the decision to go, and they would have a big celebration of his career and do it upright. And he's not ready to go. And you're right, you can't fire him because he is an institution. He's got to know when it's time to walk away. And we're getting to that point with a lot of these older coaches. They're going to have to start thinking about walking away, because I just don't feel like they can connect with these 17 and 18-year-olds that they're recruiting now.
I would
have
agree
a hard
with
time
that.
having a conversation with these kids.
I would agree with that as far as Steve Spurrier goes, but
Yes.
not Les Miles. And if there's a college kid, if there is a high school kid out there being recruited and they don't know who Les Miles is, I would not want that idiot on my team.
Well, that's bad parenting, but there's a lot of bad parenting, you know.
Exactly.
My daughters all knew who Les Miles was, and there was no chance of him ever sitting in my living room, but they all know who he is. They know Spurrier, they know Saban, they know Urban, they know Tressel. I mean, they know, you know, the Bowden family.
Hey,
tree.
Les
They
Miles
know
actually
their
does have a
college
Twitter account.
Les Miles, we're shouting you out, baby boy. We're
No.
shouting you out.
Now, some of them don't. You're right. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them that do, and I think we'll start to see more of that. You do see, you know, like Steve Sarkisian. He was on Twitter, but what did it do him?
Wow.
He was probably out there sliding in DMs when he
I
was
was about to say
He was probably in
sliding.
videos with Johnny Manziel. See, I can turn anything back to me.
Oh goodness, poor Johnny. Oh goodness, not poor Johnny.
It just
but
keeps
still,
happening here.
It
The
just
hits
does.
keep coming.
The hits just get. And speaking of hits coming, let's talk about some injuries. Who's left standing, you guys? Who is left standing?
Next
Not
to
that many
nobody, let me tell you.
At least
If you have a fantasy
fantasy-wise.
football team and you're making a run for the playoffs, odds are you lost your tight end this weekend because Jimmy Graham's hurt, Rob Gronkowski's hurt, and for those of you who picked up my Cleveland Browns tight end Gary Barnidge, now that Josh McCown's out for the season, he ain't going to see any more receptions. It's just insane the way the tight ends have just been beaten up. I think Tyler Eifert's probably the best tight end left that's still playing, and even he's been banged up a little bit, and I wouldn't be surprised with the way the Bengals have been sliding lately if something bad doesn't happen to him in the next few weeks because they're just not getting him the protection he used to get either. From a quarterback standpoint, Romo's out. Josh McCown fractured his collarbone last night. He got the Romo injury. He's officially on IR and done for the season. Head coach Mike Pettin here in Cleveland refuses to name a starter at this point in time, so we don't know if Johnny's still in the doghouse or if Austin Davis is going to start this week. So if it's Austin Davis, fun fact, we have played the Cincinnati Bengals. This will be our 26th time to play them for the last 13 years. And Marvelous, their head coach, will be facing his 15th different Cleveland quarterback if Austin Davis starts this weekend. Because God forbid we should have had the same quarterback for an entire season, and Cincinnati should see the same quarterback from one year to the next.
And
it's insane.
Cleveland,
So,
didn't Cleveland sign Terrell Pryor too?
Word on the street is that they were in talks again with Terrell Pryor today. We had to cut him off the 53-man roster at the end of training camp in order to make room for Robert Turbin, who they released a few weeks ago. And so I haven't seen an official announcement, but that was the big gossip in Cleveland today was the official announcement that the Indians signed Jabba the Hutt Chamberlain to their pitching staff and that the Browns were about to sign Terrell Pryor. So
yeah, they were going to play him as a wide receiver or quarterback and quarterback.
I think it's a really, honestly, I think it's a back path into another backup quarterback because as unhappy as they are with Johnny Manziel right now and his off-the-field issues, Pettin really doesn't want to play him. And losing McCown doesn't give you any options. You've got Austin Davis and Johnny Manziel. And while we signed Austin to that contract extension like the 5th day he was here, if something happens to him, you need a backup. And now that Romo's out, the Dallas rumors are floating around again that Jerry Jones might want to make us an offer for Johnny, and it's hard to move Johnny if you don't have another quarterback on the roster. And Terrell Pryor can tell everybody who wants to listen that he just wants to be a wide receiver and he wants to focus on being a wide receiver, but the reality is he wants to be a quarterback. He just wants to get paid. So he'll say he wants to be a wide receiver so he can get paid, but if somebody offered him a job as a quarterback, he would sign in a heartbeat and take that job. So it'll be interesting to see what they do if they have Austin Davis starting Sunday or if Johnny gets out of the doghouse. It's just a great, big, huge mess, and they're already, this is Cleveland. So we've been talking about the draft since before Halloween, and everybody just wants to keep losing games so that we get better draft picks. And then I look at our draft history, and we haven't done anything very spectacular. Our first-round pick from last year, Justin Gilbert, was knocked out of last night's game and is in the concussion protocols because he got slide tackled by a punter. And Danny Shelton was the revolving door that let Urban block the field goal at the end of the game that they ran back. So I've not had good luck with my first-round draft picks. So I don't know that losing for draft picks does me any good. But Chris Johnson is another big fantasy injury that people need to look out for. That one hurts a lot. Running backs in general have been very disappointing this year from a fantasy perspective, and he was finally getting it together, with Justin Forsett being gone and the underperformance that we've seen from C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman in Denver. It looks like the change to Osweiler has finally gotten their running game going. Osweiler in Denver really wants to do more of a system. He's more comfortable in Kubiak's system than Peyton ever was. So as long as he's in, they've got running backs, but Chris Johnson's going to be out for a little while. And it's just, I feel bad for people like me. I have 5 fantasy teams, but I only have one that's really making a run for the playoffs. And I lost 3 people this weekend that are done for the season. And so it's going to be very hard for me to finish the year as strong as I've been when the guys who've been getting me points, like Gronkowski, are either iffy or gone. Danny Amendola's out. I've got Tom Brady as my quarterback. I lost Amendola. Julian Edelman's done. I mean, it's just everywhere I look.
Yeah.
Everywhere I look, people are hurt. And so this is, from a fantasy perspective, this is a very important week for people to get on the waiver wire to start looking at the upcoming matchups, especially you want to look ahead to weeks 13, 14, and maybe 15, depending on how late your league runs the playoffs. Look at picking up guys who are going to have easier matchups when your team's going to be in the playoffs. It's all going to be about waiver moves and strategy right now just to survive the injuries of this season. But, we've had terrible refereeing this year. We've had a ton of rule changes that were supposed to be to get the players healthy and to make things better. And I have just seen questionable calls, questionable no calls, insane injuries, collarbones and ACLs like I've never seen before. It's just, Joe Hayden's been in the concussion protocol for 6 weeks. I don't know how you're in concussion protocol for 6 weeks. How are you not better after 6 weeks? I don't know if you can ever play again if after 6 weeks you're not better. So things are really weird with the NFL. I know we exchanged some emails with all the NFL female ladies today. Over the last couple days. It's just been one of the most bizarre seasons that I can remember. And I'm pushing 50, so I can remember an awful lot of NFL seasons. It's not just Cleveland. I was just looking at the division records, and, it's not just Cleveland. There's an awful lot of teams with 2, 3, and 4 wins, and it's like there's never been this many teams at the bottom of the pile before, and a whole bunch of people smushed in the middle. It's very, very bizarre what's going on this season.
It's a bizarro world.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bizarro world. But in all of the bizarro world, there is still one unsung hero. I have an unsung.
And who would that be?
My unsung hero for this week, you guys. Oh my gosh. Sorry, Roxanne. Just sorry. It's Ziggy Ansah. Okay, he had a really, really, really good game last week. A really good game. 3.5 sacks. He is tied with J.J. Watt, and it's probably the quietest it's probably one of the more quiet performances that we've seen this year. He's a Lion, but they haven't been doing great. But he actually has been very consistent. He's improved much from even, last year. He's really improved, and he's becoming one of our best defensive players. So, Ziggy Ansah, my unsung hero this week.
Yeah. Well, he hadn't played that much football, and so he's finally, getting a chance to play it. And so, yeah. He is on one of my fantasy football teams. I'm in an IDP rookie startup league, and he's on that team. By the way, Kate was talking about injuries. I have already exceeded the number of slots available to IR players. I started out, had Kelvin Benjamin, and let's see, Le'Veon Bell, Arian Foster, I can't even IR Steve Smith because I'm out of spots.
Wow.
It's awful out there, you
Yeah.
guys, this year. It
And
is.
didn't Ben Roethlisberger come out saying he had a concussion? He won't be playing this Sunday,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So that's
Yeah.
another quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
he's another one. I tend to block him out of my memory because he was supposed to be out the week they played us, but then we knocked what's his
Mike
name,
Bivens.
backup quarterback
Landry
number 3,
Jones.
Landry
Oh.
Jones
Landry
out,
Jones.
and then all of a sudden Ben came back in and had the best backup quarterback performance in the history of the NFL. Yawn.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Ben. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. But yeah, anybody else have somebody who did really well this weekend and we didn't hear too much about? Anybody?
I'm going to nominate David Emerson.
Okay.
The Raiders played the Tennessee Titans, and I am an SEC football fan, and I loved to clown David Emerson. And even though he did kind of put it to my Vols one year. But anyway, he's a guy who's kind of bounced around a little bit, and he had a very good game against the Tennessee Titans and actually replaced their number 1 pick, 2 years ago, DJ Hayden. It's a cornerback they took like in the top 10 maybe a couple of years ago, and replaced him and did really well. So big ups.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good. Love to hear that. Like to, just people like that. Kate, you had anybody?
This is painful. I need a minute.
Okay.
I need to shout out second year Baltimore Ravens defensive back, Brent Urban. He missed all of his rookie year last year with a torn ACL. He's been okay this season, but he was kind enough to block my attempt at a game-winning field goal last night, which enabled Will Hill to take that ball, step out of bounds, and run it all the way in for a touchdown to win the game. And while it's painful for me as a Browns fan, I'm pretty sure all of Ravens Nation was crying in their beer that they were about to lose to Cleveland and get swept for the first time since the Browns have been back, and he saved them from that shameful statistic. We haven't swept a division opponent since '99 when we came back, and this was our first chance to do it, and he saved them. So shout out to Brent Urban and the Ravens. I guess you can celebrate. I'll just keep crying in my beer.
We should give. We would be very remiss if we didn't give a big shout out to Brock Osweiler.
You're right. We would.
Yeah. Who beat Tom Brady?
Yeah.
And what, his
second
start, third start, second start?
Second.
Anyway, big ups.
Huge
He's in a really tough position emotionally and everything else. I mean, you got to figure he looks up to Peyton Manning, and nobody wants to tell Peyton he can't play anymore. And as long as he's hurt, you're just filling in. But there are going to be hard decisions that Kubiak and John Elway have to make when Peyton's cleared to play, and Osweiler is just playing really well. And it's been nice to see what he's managed to do with a team that, frankly, I thought was overrated, and I thought their defense carried them a lot of the way through this season. And he's made the most of his opportunities on the field, and that was just a really nice game against the Patriots. Let's face it, unless you're a Patriots fan, everybody else loves to see the Patriots lose. And so we were all loving us some Brocco this week.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Brocco the Bronco. Yep, he did his No, he did good, and you're right. He does have huge shoes to fill, and it's got to be hard for him. And I'm sure it's kind of how Aaron Rodgers felt, when he.
I was just about to say.
It's probably the exact same thing.
But at least with Aaron, Brett was gone. They all made the decision to leave. He was on another roster. He wasn't, breathing down Aaron's neck, waiting to get his job back. And I don't think Peyton's that kind of guy. I think he's going to be really supportive, and I'm guessing he's been mentoring Brock and has been very helpful, watching film and all that kind of stuff. But at some point, he's going to want his job back, and it's going to be like, kid, this is my job. So I just hope they're all getting along in the locker room, because as much as I hate the Broncos and John Elway, I've always liked Peyton Manning, and I like Brock Osweiler, and I liked him when he played in college. So I kind of root for those kind of people. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I like teams to win or lose based on their talent, not because of crap that's going on off the field or injuries or guys that can't get along in the locker room, coaches that are on mad power trips making stupid decisions, coaches who absolutely refuse to call a timeout when a timeout is definitely warranted, like 20 seconds left in a tie game against the Buffalo Ravens on Monday Night Football. But I digress.
Exactly. So, my question now is, who has it worse? Browns fans, Lions fans. I even saw somebody say Dolphins fans, Raider fans.
Raiders
Titans
are looking
fans.
good this year. Raiders are really turning it around.
Well, the
Yeah,
Saints,
the
the Saints are sucking it up. The 49ers. And even I don't feel sorry for Cowboys fans. Sorry, Michelle.
I feel kind of bad, actually, for Colts fans this year, because this year has just been a cluster for Indianapolis, and they're not used to this. Aside from that 1 year after Peyton left, they're just not used to this. The Chargers are almost in the same boat the Browns and Lions are in, except that they've got what should be, a crazy good roster, and they've got Phillip Rivers, who's just never been able to get it done. And
No.
I'm amazed how bad they are.
I don't know that they've had the same front five on their offensive line for any 2 games this week. Those are the quiet injuries. They're not like fantasy names. They're not, names people know.
Right.
But if you look at their lineup from week to week, even the week that the Browns played them, because it's all about me, even the week the Browns played them, by the end of the game, none of the starting 5 offensive linemen, I think 1 was still in because they had all gotten hurt. It's just been, I don't feel like Phillip Rivers has got to go, just like Drew Brees did. He's got to go somewhere else to play. Maybe San Diego's jinxed. Maybe it's built like the stadium's on like an Indian burial ground or something, and he just needs to get out of there because it's crazy.
Well,
they had a very crazy offseason, right, Roxanne? With all the trade rumors for Phillip Rivers, and you still live in California, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What part of California are you in?
Southern California. I'm near LA.
Mm-hmm.
So what do people out there think about the Chargers and Phillip Rivers?
I don't know. I personally don't want to see it.
You're a Philly fan. You don't care.
No, I don't actually. But
I don't blame you.
I don't know. It's just gonna be weird to see a team out here in LA, only because Los Angeles, we don't like, the football stadium here. We're more into the Hollywood and celebrities and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see. We've tried the Rams, we've tried the Raiders. It didn't work. So I don't know how it's gonna work. I don't know who wants to come out here, actually.
Well, they're talking about bringing like 4 now. I mean, it's really crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Getting built, though. I've just seen pictures. It's going. I don't know who they expect out here, but someone's coming out here. That's for sure.
I think Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback than Kate's giving him credit for, but definitely there's not very much talent around him this year. You're right. And losing Keenan Allen was huge.
And Antonio Gates has been kind of in and out of the lineup.
Yeah, well, he missed the first 4 games, yeah.
And then I thought
when he got his 100th, was it his 100th TD against us? And then he really hasn't done much since then. It's almost like he got that, and now he's like, almost like Peyton got those 3 yards he needed to get his record.
And then he sat down.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a break.
Denny Woodhead's been pretty awesome.
Yes, he has.
And they do have Melvin Gordon, I suppose, so.
Flashes. There's flashes there. There is flashes.
But yeah, their offensive line is offensive.
Yeah, guys, it's not supposed to be that bad. Yeah. All right, guys, I don't have a clock. What time is it?
It is 8:40. It's 15. We're 15 minutes away from.
Good. So we got
15 more minutes.
Cool, Sharona.
What?
You got to burn on something? Or you got to talk about something?
You guys, let me just say this. I have been out of pocket very, very, very badly. So I just wanted to tell Kate and Sonja how much I appreciate them picking up the slack and keeping the show going on. And I miss them so much. And I'm so happy to be back, and I'm happy to see Roxanne.
Yes, next man up. You know we got you.
I know.
Always,
I was
always.
about to say, always, 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 we got you. But it's been some interesting things I think going on in the past couple weeks. In the NFL, it's been eventful. The biggest thing I would say though has been refereeing.
Yeah, the officiating.
The officiating has been just trash, and it's kind of funny because now everybody's like, well, what's a catch? I'm like, you guys, I haven't known what a catch is in like 5 years.
Well, the Calvin
Okay.
Johnson rule, right?
Yep.
Exactly, the Calvin Johnson rule. So since then, it's just kind of been like, I don't know.
It's like the tuck rule kind of in a way. The NFL, couldn't get that right, and I still am not convinced they've gotten that right. But it's like they just cannot admit that they make a mistake, right? And so
Right.
because they can't admit they made a mistake on the Calvin Johnson thing, they've completely screwed up the rule.
Mhm.
Yep.
They have, and it's showing. It's very much so showing, and they need to figure out a way to universalize it, or remediate the refs if they did something wrong, or say, hey, on this play, this is what you screwed up on, somehow, some way.
They definitely need to hold the refs accountable for their
Yeah.
mistakes.
Exactly.
I don't think there's been a week without some kind of controversy, some kind of bad call that the NFL later admitted to it being a bad call. I mean, it's always on a
Well,
Monday.
and they're calls that have cost people games, because they're
Right.
talking now about the Tennessee Titans game where they threw a flag on a non-existent defensive holding that never happened in the final ending of the game. And so there have been a lot of things that have changed the outcomes of games, and I firmly believe that part of the problem is these referees are only part-time employees. They don't make enough money to be refs
That's
full-time.
exactly what I was going
They
to get
don't
at.
have time. If you work a game Thursday, Sunday, or Monday, then 2 days later you should be in someone's office in whatever region you live in. Then you should be watching game film. You should be watching you should sit down and watch a game you didn't ref, and they've got the all-22 footage, and then watch the game you did and have somebody going through it with you saying you missed this call or you should have called that call. Figure out which calls. I mean, frankly, I've watched enough football to know that you could call either offensive or defensive holding on nearly every single play in a game. There comes a time where if it's away, if there's holding all the way on the right side of the field and the play, everything going on the play is on the left side of the field, let that go. If some of these things didn't involve the ball and the outcome of the play, focus on what's going on with that kind of stuff. And it's just inconsistent. I listened to a lot of football players. Chris Carter was talking about it on Mike and Mike this morning, and I completely agree with him. He compared it to the strike zone in baseball. It doesn't matter how big or small an umpire's strike zone is, as long as it's the same size for both teams. And as a baseball hitter, you can learn to adjust your swing and what you're looking for to where that umpire's calling it, as long as it stays that same way for both teams. And the same thing comes in with, the incidental contact, the bump within 5 yards, pass interference. As long as you know what the ref's going to let you do and what he's not going to let you do, and it stays consistent for the whole game, players can deal with that. It's the inconsistency and when the players aren't clear what the rules are and the refs are enforcing things differently, it just makes everybody confused. And I'm worried that that's leading to some of the injuries, because guys aren't just playing with muscle memory and playing the flow of the game like they normally do, and they're trying to stop and change things to avoid doing something they're not supposed to do, you know what I mean? And they're ending up in bad places. So I think if the first thing they did was they've got enough money. Let's face it. They have enough money to pay these referees enough to live on, and this is now your job. You're like a school teacher for 9 months out of the year, and really, you could be doing all kinds of stuff with them in the off season. They could be working with college coaches on stuff. They could be doing inner-city youth programs. You could just pay them all year round, send them to school in the summer to learn the new rules, make them watch game film during the week, hold them accountable. I'm gonna not let you do a playoff game, and playoff games are bonus money. So you get regular pay for the regular season, you get double pay for a playoff game, triple pay for the Super Bowl, whatever. And unless you get a certain grade during the regular season, you don't qualify for the bonus stuff, and hold them accountable for what they're doing during games. And I'd also like to see the instant replay move to a neutral territory. Baseball does it and the NHL does it, and some of these replays take forever, and some it feels like they didn't even look at all, and 2 seconds later the ref's going, oh, this is confirmed, and you're like, there's no way they had time to look at that. It's confusing for us, and it's got to be confusing for guys that are only doing this part-time and actually have a day job.
I think oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. No.
Oh, well, wasn't that the point of the referee lockout that they had a few years ago, where they, you know, were supposed to fix those issues? I don't understand why they still
quite work
They
out.
do have a grade. Yeah, they do have a grading system, but it's very super secretive, and they don't let anybody know. And allegedly, you know, if your grades are not good enough, you don't get some of the choicer games. I think one thing that they could do immediately is to simplify things. The rule book has gotten way too complex, way too big, and they've made a lot of things like the catch rule counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You know, go back to let simple physics rule. You know, I mean, the new rule doesn't even make sense when you look at physics. So, you know, it's just, I mean.
I could do my own taxes, but I could not referee an NFL game. Because the tax code is easier to understand than the NFL's current rule book. We just throw it out and start over again. If it looks like a catch, it's a catch. You know what a catch is. We all know, well, we think 5 years ago, we all knew what a catch was when we saw one.
Again, I think it goes back to
stand up with the ball.
I think it goes back to Calvin Johnson, and they screwed that up, and they did in typical NFL fashion, unwilling and unable to admit that they were wrong.
Exactly.
Well, that's why they're still going to court against Tom Brady and Deflategate and all this. Goodell just can't let it go. Just take the loss, let it go. It is what it is. Be done with it.
Exactly.
You know, have any of you, or are any of you planning to see that new concussion movie that come out this week?
I will see it, yes, but I have not had a chance to.
It comes out at
probably
Christmas.
wait for it to be on DVD, but I don't know if I want to see it or not. I'm waiting for reviews.
I'm waiting for reviews
I like Will
too.
Smith.
I do like Will Smith, and I mean, so far in the trailers, I'm like, wow, he already deserves an Academy Award because he's playing an African man, and it's amazing. So
you know,
right
I know,
there.
but whenever like a big name like that gets involved in a movie like this, I worry: is this really going to be the real story of what happened, or is this just Will Smith going to act and be fabulous and get an award? And is this not really? Because I'm really interested in what the backstory is to all this stuff. You know what I mean?
I agree. I was saying the same thing. If they had gotten some unknown or lesser known actor to play the role, I think it would have had much more of an effect than a Hollywood star.
Do you think like maybe a former player should have done it? Like maybe Terry Crew doesn't really have the, he kind of plays more of a comedic, comedic type role. But I mean, there
were other options I think that they could have gone with, but
I thought Will Smith did a good job on the Ali movie.
He did very good with Ali.
But that's a story we're familiar with. I mean, it's kind of hard to screw with the history of Ali and what went on. You know what I mean? This is one of those where I'm really not familiar with all the details, and when I see the movie, I'm waiting for more reviews to come out because I want to know if it's if I can take it like it's a documentary and this is really based on what happened, this is what happened, or am I just going because it's an entertaining spin on what happened? Do you know what I mean? I kind of want to know which way, is this the Blair Witch Project or is this, actual footage of something freaky that happened? You know what I mean? So I'm one of the few stupid people who saw Blair Witch Project when I thought it was real. And it completely freaked me out.
Oh,
it's a whole different movie when you know it's not real.
It freaked me all the way out, too. I slept with the light on for like a month.
Yeah. My husband got up and left halfway through that movie. He couldn't sit through it, and I made it through the end, but that's just that's not football related. So anyway, I'm just
Yeah, that's.
I want to know what
nice.
I want to know what happened, and I don't have the time or energy to go find all the books and read all this stuff to figure out what all this is. So I'm hoping that even though it is Will Smith, it is really the true story. Because like I said, he was great in Ali, and I've seen him do a lot of, the serious stuff. But like I said, with Ali, you knew what was what because we all kind of lived through it, or we knew the stories, we knew the legend of Ali enough to know that when you're watching it, this really is what happened, and this really is factually, historically, what went down. So I'm curious about the concussion movie, and I remember seeing some pieces on 60 Minutes about the doctor that's in it and the research years ago. So, and especially with Junior Seau getting inducted into the Hall of Fame in last year and all the rule changes and the injuries this year and the extreme lengths they're going to with concussion protocols now, I want to know what the backstory is. I want to know how they got here.
Yep.
I think we will be finding out soon. Kate, I can't wait to see what you think of it.
I'll let you know. I
Stay
saw
tuned.
Draft Day. I watched Draft Day again. I watched Draft Day again last week. I still love that movie. I don't care if people think it's stupid and bad and terrible movie. I loved it. Even if it was about the Browns, I thought from a football movie standpoint, it was a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
I saw it for the first time like 2-3 weeks ago. It got better as you got into the movie. I hated what they did with Kate. What's her name? She was married to Tom Cruise.
Oh, Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes. I hated what they did with her character.
I haven't seen it yet. I wanted.
I
It's
was
been
about
on
to say.
TikTok.
No, isn't that Jennifer Ben Affleck's wife that was in it?
Yes, that's who it was. Never mind.
Oh, Jennifer Garner.
There was no reason to have Kevin Costner and her hooking up, and there was no reason for him and his mom and the dad's ashes and all that. I ignored, as my husband says, I ignored the chick flick part of it that they put into the movie so girls would go. The football part of it and the relationship with him and the guys that he was maybe going to draft, that he was talking to, and then the behind-the-doors stuff with the other teams and the moves they were making, I just thought was very entertaining and very interesting. And the thing that made me sad about it is that Hollywood still thinks girls won't go see a football movie that's just about football. They think they have to add a love interest and all this girly, quote-unquote, girly stuff to make women go and see it. But I know a lot of women who go see sports movies that are just about the sports, and you don't have to clutter it up with the other crap. Because those were the parts of the movie I didn't like. The football parts, I thought I would like nothing more than to be working in a front office, wheeling and dealing and making phone calls and trying to get one over on somebody before the draft. That would just be awesome. We each ran our own NFL teams. It would be the bomb.
It'd be awesome. Those
parts of the movie were fun.
I still think NFL female needs to take over a franchise. We would have a lot of fun with that.
We need to get one.
Oh, yeah.
Browns might be up for sale soon. We'll have to start a Kickstarter.
That's what I was saying.
Get a GoFundMe started or a Kickstarter project.
Seriously, because the Browns are just going to fire the coach anyway. Might as well get in there, give it a go.
People are calling for the president's head now. They're getting rid of everybody.
Exactly.
Last time I was here, I was just happy with letting Ray Farmer, the GM, go. Now everybody wants everybody gone, and I don't know what to do.
Let's do it.
I just keep wearing my brown and orange and watching my games. I spent 4 years without football. It's worse. Bad football is better than no football, and that's what I would say to Roxanne. With all your struggles, at least you have a football team. And the same to Sonja with the Lions. No matter how bad your team is, you still have a team.
I was about to say, we still have a team. They still sell out.
At least two teams are going to know the pain that I felt when their teams get, voted on in January and get moved to California. You can't. Bad football is better than no football.
And the Lions rocked and rolled on Thanksgiving, Sonja.
Yes, they did. Those Lions,
they
went
represented. I was pretty proud.
I was very proud.
I played Eric Ebron. I'm running out of tight ends. He's one of the last ones I have. I played it. Exactly. He did me just fine.
Good, yeah.
I didn't want to tell you ahead of time and jinx it.
Oh no, that's totally fine. And not Eric Ebron, but Golden Tate kind of is coming around too. So that's good.
He got his head firmly removed from his buttocks, and he's looking a little better.
He's looking a little better.
He's got one job. One job.
To walk
catch the ball, shut your mouth.
Catch the ball, shut your mouth, and walk into the end zone.
Thank you.
And Amir Abdullah's coming around with some good runs. So, and I'm really
Joe
proud.
Bell looked good.
Joyke Bell did look good, but I have a strange feeling he's going to be the odd man out come next year.
Yeah.
I have a strange feeling. I hope that's not the case, but I think that's going to be the case.
Well, if Amir makes it through the season and gets through the end of the year without, too much of that sophomore, rookie slump kind of stuff from the college transition, I think he's absolutely taking over that number one spot next year. I loved him in college, and Joyke may be looking for greener pastures.
I think so. And also shout out to the Lions who are actually, I think, doing their due diligence and getting a GM hired. So, things are potentially looking up, and that's kind of scary.
It's 10:01 in Cleveland. We talked for an hour, girls. We did really well.
We talked for an hour. Well, it's easy to talk for an hour with you guys.
7:01 my time. I can talk more.
Count, girl. Oh, goodness. Well, of course, the hour goes by so quickly. So quickly. Roxanne, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Why don't you tell everybody where we can find you?
I'm on Twitter, Roxaan, Roxaaneh. That's where I do all my ranting and raving. So follow me.
And do you write anywhere besides NFL Female?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't, actually.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay, so you're still just NFL Female. Very, very good, very good. Kate, why don't you say bye to everybody?
Bye, everybody. You can find me on the Twitter at ClevelandKate, CLVLNDK, 8. You can hear me on voiceatradio.com Mondays at 6 or Fridays at 6 Eastern Time for Talking Sports with Cleveland Kate. I'm always on Twitter. I'm always ranting about the Browns. I'm always interrupting Sonja and making her giggle so that she can't do her job as a hostess. That's why she's glad Sharona's back, because Sharona tries to keep me in line.
Either way, it's still all good.
It's a hard job, I tell you.
Somebody's got to do it, though.
Take a break.
Well, next week, I think we're going to do a makeup from last week.
Oh, good.
Yes, we're going to have Michelle on, so we're going to stick in the NFC East, and we get to talk them boys. So that'll be
about them boys.
Talk about them boys.
Hey, don't forget to let Sharona plug where Sharona is. Sharona's the busiest of all of us.
I know, Sharona. Go for it, big busy girl.
Well, Sharona has not been podcasting or writing much the last 6 weeks, I guess. But you can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. I promised that my podcast would be back on Monday, but it was not because of some technical issues. But next Monday, we'll be back with Back Talk with Sharona. You can find me at NFL Female every Tuesday night here, of course. Wednesday nights, going for 2 with Zach and Sharona. And I also write for Pro Player Insider. So, all right, Sonja, take us out.
All right,
Shout out to Liz.
Yes, as always,
Thank
shout
you,
out to
Liz.
Liz. Because I always forget to shout out Liz, so my bad. And somebody's dog got mad at me. All right, Liz, so thank you so much for giving us the opportunity for doing what we do and getting to talk football, and actually the fact that you brought us all together. So, Liz, we are thankful for you. Everybody, you can find me on Twitter at mom, 2, 3 RN. You can always find me writing for NFL Female. I've been kind of slacker recently, but again, life, that's okay.
Life gets in the way.
Exactly, life does get in the way, but that's okay. Yeah, so catch us next week as we talk NFC East Cowboys with Michelle. All right, guys, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.